Hey everyone, this is going to be a pretty straightforward video showcasing a very simple SAML setup between JumpCloud and Datadog. We will go over how to configure and set up the integration as well as map some roles so you have control over user access within the Datadog application. This is part of my SAML SSO series where I configure different types of applications to be used with JumpCloud's SSO connectors. I've already set this up once before, and I rolled back as much as I possibly can. So you're going to see some residual left over for things, but hopefully it's minimal. And of course, I'll walk you through everything that we need to go through. So bear with me with this video. We do have to kind of bounce back and forth between a few screens just to kind of get the data that we're looking for, but it's a pretty straightforward integration, and we're going to have some fun with some group attributes and role mapping here within JumpCloud and then connecting it to Datadog. So first and foremost, what we need to do is we need to look at the documentation for JumpCloud and with Datadog. So here's the documentation right here, links in the description. This will allow you to basically just step by step on how to get this done. You can follow this documentation and you're good to go. If you don't want to follow documentation and you just kind of want to watch what I do, then watch what I do. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into Datadog and we're going to go into our login methods. So I hit Control K on the panel and I go to login methods. Right now it is currently on. You'll have to enable it. So flipping from on or off and then enable it. And in here, you're not going to have this sign-in URL. You're going to have it's going to say upload metadata. We're going to do that actually here in a second. So that's the first step, is to get the metadata for JumpCloud. So we're going to pop back over into the JumpCloud admin panel and we're going to open up our application and we're going to configure for Datadog. And we're just going to type in a name. Doesn't have to be anything super fancy, just the display name. And then SSO, this is where the magic happens. Now, honestly, from here, I'm just gonna hit save, and I'll show you why here in a minute, because all we need from Datadog are these two fields right here, okay? You can name this IDP URL something unique if you wish, like if you have a certain name that you wanna name it, and then we'll come back and configure the group attributes. But for me, for right now, I'm just gonna hit activate, and it's going to activate the application. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to download the metadata, right? And I have obviously done this a few times, so you see my downloads, but we're gonna use this 2 here, okay? So we're gonna hop back over into Datadog and you're gonna you'll see this button, choose file. And so we're gonna grab that XML file and hit open. And then you hit save. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna generate your sign-in URL, okay? So we're going to take that, we're going to copy link address, and we're going to pop back over into the admin panel for the SSO configuration, and we're going to throw that right into our login URL. And then we're going to pop back over here and make sure that this is the same. It looks like it is, but for kicks and giggles, we're just going to throw it in there without white space because that'd be terrible. And now we're good. Okay, so now the last thing we have to do is we have to assign this application access to our users. So we're going to go ahead and go in here and we're going to give our DevOps users access to this, and I hit save. Popping over into our DevOps group, we're going to look to see who's a member of this group, make sure that we have Angela Brown, Angel Sheldon, and Kendra Smart. Looking over here in our users, we have Angel Sheldon and Kendra Smart are already users, but Angela Brown is not a current user in Datadog. So we're going to make sure that when she logs in for the first time, an account is created. So popping back over here into login methods, we can look at our just-in-time provisioning. So the domains that are just for time, this is a security setting that allows you to define a domain that will be recognized by Datadog when a SAML assertion comes across, to then create a user. Well, so we're using csjumpcloud.com here. Obviously your domain is going to be whatever it is as your email address for your domain. You would just throw that in here and you'd hit add a domain. Okay, so now that we have Angela Brown, we're going to go ahead and log in as Angela Brown or Angel Sheldon, right? So we're logged in. We're going to log in as Angel Sheldon, who's already a user, and we're just going to see that flow, right? So Angel Sheldon's already logged in. We're going to hit Datadog, and we are now in. We're logged in. You can see we're logged in down here, Angel Sheldon at JumpCloud.com. And she has read-only access, so she can still go. She can go into users, right? And she can see that you don't have any way to edit. So she just has read-only. She can see the roles everyone else. Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and now let's go into an account that we don't have access into already. And so looking at our users, we know that Angela Brown does not have access. Okay, we're gonna log in as Angela Brown here. And we're gonna sign in. Okay, now that we're logged in as Angela Brown, we are going to log in with Datadog. We have an application, we have access to it, and we are logged in. You see down here, we are logged in as Angela Brown. If I pop back over into the admin panel over here for Datadog and I refresh the screen, we will see that Angela Brown has been provisioned as well as read-only access. Now that role is coming from, if I look under login methods here and go to update, that role is coming from the default role that is happening here. Now this might not be good for you. You might not want to have everyone just come in as read-only. So we're going to configure that. So we're going to go ahead and go into SAML group mappings. And again, I'm hitting Control K and Datadog to do that. And we're going to create some mappings. So first we're going to do is we're going to create a new mapping. And we're going to call the key, you can name this whatever you want. So we're going to say Datadog role, and we're going to say value is DevOps. Okay, and we're going to assign a role as admin. Save and create another. We're going to create one. We're going to say DD role, and we're going to call this, let's just say accounting. Let's call it all employees. Sure, why not? And we're going to say read only. Okay, so now we have two groups here, or two roles being mapped. And now what we have to do is we're going to pass in an attribute key called DD role, and then we're going to send in the group attribute within JumpCloud. So here we go. Let's set that up. So over here in the SSO configuration, the first thing we have to do is come over here to Datadog integration, go to SSO and scroll down here to the bottom and include group attribute. And we call that DD role, right? So this is saying the value of DD role is going to be assigned, the key DD role is going to receive the value of whatever group the user is assigned to when they log in with this application. Okay. So if we looked at, for instance, who are we signed in as over here? We're signed in as Angela Brown. Okay. So if I were to log out here and I go back into Angela Brown, what we can see is we have her assigned to the DevOps group. And if you remember, the DevOps group was admin, right? But over here, Angela Brown came in as read-only. So now that we have the group mapping set up, let's go ahead and do a quick refresh just because kicks and giggles. And now we're gonna sign in. So now we're signed in, and if I pop back over into our admin panel with Datadog and refresh, did I not turn it on? You have to enable mappings. So let's try that again. My fault. Okay, so now if I log back in, what will happen is she will now be signed in, but you have yourself a nice little admin role at this point. If you're a member of multiple groups that are mapped, so say for instance Kendra Smart over here, she has admin role as well as read only. So remember we did this group mapping here where we put all employees, right? So say for instance we go back in here and we give Angela Brown access to all employees, right? But then what we want to do is we want to make sure that all employees has access to the Datadog application. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna refresh just to make sure that we have it. And of course, now we got more applications because we assigned the user to a different user group. And we're gonna click on Datadog. She is still signed in like she was before, but now when I refresh this page over here over on users, she now has 2 roles. So what happens with Datadog is every time the authentication comes in, all of the roles are removed from the user, and then the roles that are that match a group are added to here. And this is actually pretty cool because say for instance, we added another group and we're gonna call it Denver Sales, right? And so we're gonna go into and was it Angela Brown? Yeah, Angela Brown that we're working with. You'd think that if I had enough coffee, I'd figure this out by now, but nope. And we're gonna remove her from all employees and from DevOps, but then put her into Denver Sales. Okay. So what you're gonna see here is that even though I refresh the screen here and I have Datadog application, when I log in, it's going to give me an error message, and it's going to say there are no mapped roles for this user. Looking back over here in Datadog, if I refresh the screen, all of the roles have been removed from her because she tried to make a SAML authentication request and when Datadog receives that, it removes all the roles from that user and then reapplies whatever the roles are from the SAML group mappings. In this case, there were no group mappings, so she doesn't have any access to that particular or any roles for Datadog. So that essentially just removed all of her roles from Datadog at that moment in time. If you add her back in to the user group of DevOps, now this would be curious. I haven't tested this one when you have one group that is and one group that isn't. Let's see. And okay, so we're signed in, but as you would probably imagine, we only got the role that was mapped, which was the admin role. So I hope that helps. I hope that gets you started in the right direction. It's a pretty easy setup, pretty easy integration. Sorry for the back and forth with the screen going back and forth, but that was really kind of the only way to get this done in an efficient way. But essentially all you have to do to get this going is start with the SSO application, create a Datadog, create your metadata. Once you have that, upload it into Datadog. That'll create your login URL and you are done. And then you can create your group mappings, and then you can create your SAML group mappings within Datadog to match to your key attributes and your key value or your attribute values. So that way you can have dynamic roles assigned. And this also even works for custom roles. I don't have any custom roles, but if I was to enable custom roles, I would assign the role name to that, and therefore each group that was assigned would have their own role. Just keep in mind though, that obviously if they're a member of multiple groups within JumpCloud, they're going to receive all of the roles that are associated with your group mappings. So just be careful that you don't misconfigure. This is actually how an IAM misconfiguration could happen and potentially cause a problem if you have a user in multiple groups and those groups are mapped to different access that you didn't audit or didn't true up over a period of time. So just make sure that you're double checking that so you don't have a misconfiguration down the line. So, well, I'm Ben Garrison. I hope that was helpful. I hope they got you going in the right direction, especially with Datadog integration. We're going to have more SSO type videos to help you get integrated and moving forward. So again, thank you very much. Have a great day.